Happy Sunday morning, everybody. Andy, Corbin, and Steve from WagerTalk.com. Welcome to the Road to Millions. We are here to get you ready for NFL Sunday. Ton of games to get to. We've got 3 NFL best bets. We're going to go over all the player props, the final lines that have been established for the Sunday morning. We'll talk alt lines and same game parlays, anytime touchdown scores. We're going to get you ready to have a profitable Sunday. But first, got to do some positive vibes here. Look at this. Look at what YouTube recommends to me. Week 9 NFL DraftKings picks and Bob Ross.
I see the similarities.
Super Tiggeron, this show rocks. Must-watch show daily, fresh and great perspective. Thank you very much, Warren. Thanks again, Andy and Steve, riding with the Saints. Andy and his sneaky bets. Absolutely. Sneaky is where you want to be. This is an interesting. Steven Pierce says that Jacobs' rushing number might be an overreaction to the Leonard Williams trade. It's a good point. We will definitely talk about Josh Jacobs. Let's see. Had Pistons plus 7.5. Sasser at the line, down 9 with 8 seconds left. Hits both. Then Duran gets teed up for breathing on Valanciunas. Tough L. That's all right. We'll get it back. So this is an interesting. Nick and I are going to go head to head. He says fading the Raiders this week is a big mistake. Thinks they easily go over 19.5. So I'll go ahead.
I wouldn't say easily. I don't think the Raiders are doing anything particularly easy at any point. But
Yep. Travis Kelce over his receiving yards if Taylor Swift is at the game. Corbin, you're not a big fan of the Frankfurt, Germany game.
no, nobody wants to go to Frankfurt. Let's be honest. It's just like how they've picked that as a location. I just don't know. But yeah, I suspect Taylor Swift will not be wanting to visit Frankfurt. So.
Oh boy. Well, listen, guys, what do we have up? We have our NFL 3% best bet. We had an incredible day yesterday. I think we won 10 units. So keeping it simple. NFL, just need one play, and we've got that up. We were fresh off of a really, really nice cash on Thursday. There was one play that absolutely jumped off the page. That is available at WagerTalk.com. Let's add some units to the bankroll without overexposing ourselves too much. We just really, really love this play. So go grab that. It's only $15 at WagerTalk.com. I see a lot of people have like 8 plays up for today, which is asinine to me. Let's just pick one. Let's just pick our favorite one and cash on that one. I don't have much for weather. Weather seems to be good across the board. No games should be totally affected by it. And injuries, it looks like Puka Nacua will play. Stafford is questionable. I read something that said it was unthinkable that he would be able to play, and it looks like he's close to playing. So we'll see.
I thought it was unthinkable that they would, after an injury, make him try and catch a touchdown pass, but they did that as well. So
it's true. So. Let's start with these passing props. We'll start off with some passing touchdowns here. Do you guys like anyone over their passing touchdowns? I do like Derek Carr over his passing touchdowns. Talked about how the Bears given up 17 passing touchdowns and only 4 rushing touchdowns. So I think this is a very fair price on this one. Can I interest Clayton Tune to throw a touchdown pass at minus 140? Anybody? Anyone?
No, I'm off that train.
You want to parlay it with Jaron Hall? Anybody?
No, I'm looking opposite on those guys this week.
Okay, all right. Well, let's jump into yes.
I am looking at. I do have a nice plus money look on Mac Jones over 1.5 passing touchdowns this week. It's plus 170. I mean, I know he hasn't been getting the job done, but this is a spot where the Commanders are coming in with an already vulnerable pass defense that has been even weakened more since the trade deadline. I'll talk about it throughout the show because it's a big storyline. In my opinion, they've lost Young, they've lost Sweat, and I'm looking at the Patriots being able to get it done through the air today, even though they lost a couple receivers last week.
I kind of like Sam Howell to have a good game. This plus 170s, that's an asinine number. That's crazy.
Against that pass defense and what could end up potentially being a relatively high-scoring game, the Commanders seem to get into them pretty frequently. So I think it's a great price, and that's the way to attack that team is through the air.
I'm with you. The other ones, Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts at even money at 1.5 kind of stands out to me as well. I feel like both. I feel like at least one of them's going over. Probably both.
I would
I mean,
agree.
these
I
are
agree.
teams that are just not very good at pass defense, and they're much better at rush. So, all right, let's take a look at some of the passing yards. Any passing yards jump out to you, Corbin?
Not really. I have a slightly different one. It's only a parlay piece, but on certain books you can get Derek Carr to have more passing yards than Badgen
Wow.
at -300. It's a good parlay piece considering they're like nearly like 70 yards in the line between them. So, but yeah, that's the only thing that really stood out for me with that. So
Steve, you like any passing yards pieces?
I mean, speaking of Badgett, the number is really low at 188.5, but I just have no, after last week, I have no faith in this guy whatsoever. I'm looking under on that number for sure against the Saints defense that, the pass defense is their strength. So I'm expecting a bigger game from Foreman. I'll talk about that after, but yeah, Badgett under all day.
Yeah, I was looking at his 18.5 completions. He barely got over against the Chargers, which is the worst pass defense in the league. The Saints, I'm with you, Steve. I think they're going to make this guy's life a absolute nightmare today. So
Baker Mayfield was another guy that I was looking at. The total's just slightly higher than I would have liked it. I was also looking at like alt totals for him at 200 and 225. Can't quite get there on the 240, but I'm expecting him to have a somewhat all right day and get near that. So
yeah, other than that, I think these lines are pretty accurate. Listen, we keep fading. If you just keep playing the opposing quarterback against the Chargers, they just keep going over. I mean, even as bad as Bajent was, he still got over his total. I mean, it's tough to put your trust in Zach Wilson, but if you played Bajent last week, surely you can play Wilson.
Yeah.
yeah,
This,
if
this,
I was going to play Wilson though, I feel like I'd almost rather play Garrett Wilson because he's his only real weapon. Who else is he really going to be thrown to apart
see,
from him to get to 200 and something
well,
yards?
and what I would say is the Chargers give you
Hmm.
more weapons. Like some of these guys, like
Very true.
guy like Alan Lazard, who isn't open against
Hmm.
the Bills. Maybe he is open against the Chargers just because they just tend to leave a lot of guys open. But yeah, playing overs on opponents against the Chargers has definitely been a good recipe for success. Rushing yards. Justice Hill broke my heart, and now they lowered it down to like 18.5. That is such an aggressive move down. Um, it's a little bit of a tougher. It's a little bit of a tougher game, but I I stand by. I think Kenneth Walker's still hurt. I would take the under on Kenneth Walker, and at the same time, I would take over on Zach Charbonnet. Last week, he was dealing with a calf injury. We saw it with Joe Burrow that this is a multiple week injury. Last week, Charbonnet had more snaps. He ran more routes. He had more runs inside the red zone. And this Ravens team is just a really good. They're a top 10 rush defense. I like the under on Kenneth Walker. I'm not sure. I mean, what do you have? 8 carries last week. This is absolutely not going to get it done. So if he's still dealing with that calf injury, it wouldn't surprise me if he comes in under 53.5. So,
Yeah, I'm completely with you on that one. I had the Charbonnet over 20.5 is on my list today as well.
oh, nice. Yes.
Nice low number. I mean, like you said, he got 53 last week on 5 carries, so he's pretty explosive, and I'm expecting him to be, excited to get the chance to get some more carries today.
You mentioned Deontay Foreman. That's the next game. What do you like about Foreman?
Yeah, we talked about him earlier in the week. It's just he's been just explosive recently. You see him when he gets the ball, it looks like he's so fast when he gets that ball, and he's averaged 63 yards a game in his last 3 games. Saints are middling against the run, really good pass defense, allowed a season high 164 to the Colts last week, and last year when Foreman was in the same role, filling in as a running back for the Panthers, he had 12 for 68 against this defense. So it's a nice low number on Foreman today that I'm expecting him to go over.
I still don't know how this guy doesn't end up on a really good team. I look at him and I'm like, you're like better than most of the starting running backs that I watch. I mean, you watch some of these running backs run right into the offensive line. Meanwhile, there's Foreman ripping off 5-6 yard carries every time he touches it.
It's so true. And when you see every year, it's just the third year in a row that he's come in and had big production midway through the season for a losing team, though. You know what I mean? You think
like
that
the third stringer.
you think last year or this year somebody would have said, "Don't stash him till middle of the year and we can benefit from him," but nope.
Nope.
He's on the Bears.
Cardinals at Browns. Corbin, can I tempt you with a Kareem Hunt over against this horrible Cardinals team?
Potentially, he's definitely getting involved more, but for me, I can't quite get there on that number just yet. The one I was looking at in that game is actually Deshaun Watson. It was at 16.5 down to 15.5 now. He's made of paper. Like, he's literally a walking injury. He's had shoulder problems for like multiple weeks. Why would he risk running? Like, I get he's not the smartest guy on the field, but like, why would you even attempt to run at this point? I'm definitely looking under on him. So
I didn't expect that fire this morning.
He's early in the morning for this kind of
Wow.
stuff.
Europe game hasn't started yet. Corbin's just ripping Deshaun lines. Man.
he just sucks.
I know. Vikings at Falcons. Corbin was making fun of me last night because I love Tyler Algier.
Here it comes.
I was just laughing about how I have him in fantasy and how they had first and goal on the 1 yard line, and I was already counting my touchdown, and then Desmond Ridder just fumbles the ball, doesn't even get a chance to get a handoff. Steve, you like any rushing props? Vikings, Falcons?
No, I don't have anything in this one.
I don't either. I know Taylor Heineke was kind of a. I've heard rumblings. Oh yeah, take a look at Heineke. The numbers actually moved down to 11.5. I don't like that move. And when I looked up Heineke's numbers, he doesn't run all that much. Like, he'll have games where he runs a decent amount, but it's not every game, so I'm staying away. Buccaneers and Texans, talked about on Friday on Prop It Up. You got to wait and see what happens with Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce is out, so it is the Devin Singletary show. I got to tell you, I think this number is too high. Buccaneers are good. I think Singletary does more in the passing game. Corbin, what do you think?
Oh, you've nailed it. Well, Singletary's going to be the only back, but 51.5 for him is just incredibly high, I think, especially against the Bucs defense, who are pretty good against the run at times. So yeah, I think he's going to get involved more in the passing game than the run this time.
Rams and Packers. Corbin, want to keep going back to under on Aaron Jones?
I'm not going to touch Aaron Jones, but I'm actually going to maybe do something surprising for you. I'm actually looking at AJ Dillon over 31.5. I've said it before. He's not great, but he has gone over this line in 4 of 7 games. Love just sucks so bad. He's painful to watch. But I can see the Packers being up in this game towards the end, that they're going to give carries to AJ Dillon because he's healthy, firstly, over Aaron Jones. Why, if we're up, why risk that hamstring even more? So he went over in both the head-to-heads with the Rams last couple of years by quite some way. So it's a low total. So
you think you guys are going to be up?
I think towards in the fourth quarter, I think we may be.
Wow.
Just about. Or at least close to
the clock? Wow.
At least close enough, I think, that they're still going to run because, I can't see why they would throw the ball with Jordan Love because he just can't do it. Like, he's just struggling so much that I think they're going to have to rely on the run game, particularly with the power that Dillon's going to hopefully bring. So
I like Jordan Love over 13.5. He's run for 34, 21, and 37 the last 3 weeks. Against Detroit, -2 yards, but then before that, 39 and 23. This Darrell Henderson one is also interesting, 49.5. The Packers, not a great rush defense, and if you got an injured Stafford or, if you got Rippon playing, maybe they gets quite a few looks. So interesting.
I think it all depends if Stafford is playing. I think that has so much impact on, because if Stafford's playing, I don't see us being up at all. At that which point then affects Dillon and Henderson. So
Commanders and Patriots. Steve, any opinions on rushing props in this game?
No, I don't have anything from that one.
Colts and Panthers. It's crazy. Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor, just these two, 109 yards. So they're predicting success for, on the ground. Corbin, you and I are using Jonathan Taylor in
Yeah.
an alt line just to get 50 yards. We're going to parlay that with Packers team total under and Max Verstappen to win.
Yeah.
So I don't 67.5. You like it?
I still like it at 67
Yeah.
and a half. We've mentioned it. They're definitely ramping up his usage. He had 95 and 75 in the last 2 weeks. Another interesting play that I also have is Jonathan Taylor to have the most rushing yards in the game. So his main competition seems to be Hubbard, because I think he's going to have more carries than Moss. But Hubbard came back down to earth last week with 28 yards on 15 carries with an average of 1.8, which does not particularly scare me at all. And it's a great price as well. It's at evens for him to have the most rushing yards in the game at some books. So that's where I'm looking at with that.
Cowboys and Eagles. Give me the under on Jalen Hurts 28.5. That to me is insane. Guy's a hurt knee. Like anytime someone gets near him, he just goes down. He's clearly protecting it. I get that this is a huge game. I don't see 28.5 yards.
Yeah.
He's throwing the ball a ton. He just doesn't seem very mobile. 4 carries for 6 yards last week. That was a one score game against Miami. He had 11 for 21. I don't know. I don't see how he gets to 28.5. You can just clearly see he's not running very fast. And why would you put yourself in harm's way in the regular season? And then as a fantasy owner of Tony Pollard, I can just tell you take the under. I don't think the
Yeah.
Cowboys know he's on the roster, and this is the number one rush defense. So I have unders. Spoiler: love the overs and the passing props in this game, but give me the unders. Steve, any opinion?
Yeah, I'm with you, especially on Pollard, the under 52 and a half. This is the game where I mean, like you said, both teams great against the run, but can't stop the pass, and this Eagles run defense is no joke. So yeah, I'm looking under on Pollard as well.
I just this sounds so stupid. I keep saying this, but I like if Deontay Foreman's on the Cowboys, I think that rushing game is really good.
And
But
he looked good in a Cowboys uniform right now, that's for sure.
yeah. Giants and Raiders. We'll talk about Josh Jacobs in our best bets. I no Daniel Jones rushing. No thanks in the first game back. No way. Bills and Bengals. I don't have anything in the. I don't have anything for rushing props. Corbin, you have anything?
Josh Allen was the one that I was looking at. Again, any game that they're down or it's at least close, he seems to get in or above this total. It's definitely one that I'm looking at. I haven't quite got to playing it yet, but that's the one that's on my list. So
Chargers and Jets. I'll keep playing Austin Eckler unders. I mean, the Chargers suck at running the ball. He's much better as a pass catcher. I mean, against the Bears, they would hand the ball off and he would just get hit in the backfield half the time. So against the Jets, I know the Jets are better against the pass than they are against the rush, but I don't know if Eckler's the guy. So, all right, let's talk about some receiving props. Seahawks and Ravens. We will save this one. We've got a same game parlay in this one, so we'll talk about this one. Bears and Saints. So I think the Saints are going to throw all over the Bears. Steve, you mentioned that Bajent really sucks. Would you isolate any of these Bears receivers and take unders?
Yeah, I'm kind of tough there. I keep wanting to, I keep looking towards DJ Moore and expecting him to have a big game, but he keeps falling, just short of expectations. I would look towards in this one. I would personally look towards Kamara, his receiving in this one. He's been great out of the backfield. So I don't have any particular single Bear receiver though to take an under on.
I will mention that one play that I've got. You mentioned the Bears, but this one's on the Saints. It's Shaheed over his longest again. Going
Yep.
back to it, 17 and a half. It's quite a low total for him. He's gone over in 5 games this year. I've been riding it through quite a lot of games. He's just the deep threat for this team against a bad Bears defense. It's one that I'm looking at. So
Cardinals and Browns. Listen, if you can correctly pick a receiving prop in this game, congratulations. This will be a pass. Vikings.
There is one. I will say there is one that's slightly got
no.
my attention. Kareem
Okay.
Hunt over 6.5 receiving.
All
It's
right.
such a low total. I played it. I mentioned it the other week, and he flew over it, way over it. 6.5 is really not that
It's one
much.
catch. You're right.
Exactly. So
I will tell you, I am going to try and trade for Marquise Brown after this game. I hope he has a bad game in fantasy leagues. I want to try and trade for him because Kyler Murray's coming back. And when Kyler was playing, he was throwing to Marquise Brown all day long. So, fantasy player, there's a sneaky little trade thing. Hopefully, it has just a terrible game and you can get him at low value. Vikings and Falcons. Believe it or not, guys, we're coming up on Justin Jefferson coming back, or not coming back, but getting off of the IR. I don't know if
as
he
someone that
wants.
has him in fantasy, I need that to hurry up.
I don't know if he's gonna play here. Uh, Taylor Heineke is in there. Surely we're not playing any receiving in this game, right?
No, I have a couple that I actually have Powell at my book over 18.5. He's gone over in 3 or 4.
I like Powell. He's good.
So do I. But again, with the quarterback situation, I'm not going to play it this week, but it's certainly one that I'm going to watch going into next week. And then also Addison over 3.5 receptions. With a new quarterback, I think they might bed him in with some shorter completions, particularly to their main players. They have to try and get Addison involved somehow if that's running after the catch. He's gone over his 3.5 receptions in 5 of 7. So I have to feel like they'll try and get him involved some way somehow, particularly as I still don't rate their running game. So
There's one play on this in this game where you could look like the biggest genius of all time, or you could look like the biggest dumbass, and that's taking Kaderil Hodge because Drake London is out. Like Hodge had 75 yards last week. He had 3 catches for 75 yards. Like he could get over in one play in the first quarter, and you're like, "What a brilliant move!" Or he had a 1 catch for 4 yards, and you just feel like a dipshit. So that good luck with that one. Buccaneers and Texans. I mean, my God, Devin Singletary over at 11.5 yards. Sign me up for that one. Anything else you like in this one, Steve?
I think you could look towards Collins on a lean at over 59.5. I just feel like they're not going to be able to really run on this Bucs defense. If Pierce would have been playing, I'm with you on the Singletary unders as well. If Pierce would have been playing, I was heavily looking at his unders. So I mean, I think Collins is the logical choice there. Just a lean for me on that one though.
Corbin, you like anything in this one?
I have Noah Brown. That's the one I'm looking at. So it's over 31.5, but his longest receptions are 31 and 34, and the line for that is only 17.5. So yeah, that's where I'm looking with that one. If he's going to get a catch for 31 or 34, makes that total quite easy. So looking at his longest and just his normal receiving. So
I talked earlier in the week about Rashad White over 27.5. He's a guy that's just become more effective as a pass catcher than he has as a running back. Gone over quite a bit. Texans give up over 42 yards to receiving running backs. So I really, really liked it. And then I was on Twitter last night and I saw that that's kind of a popular Twitter place, and now I don't like it. So
Kiss death.
it's just the Twitter kiss of death. Rams and Packers. All right. Receiving in this one, do you roll the dice and just take under on Cup and Puka Nacua and hope that Rippon plays and he just sucks? Or Steve lay off completely?
Yeah, I'm just it's a wait and see approach on this one for me to see what happens with Stafford. This isn't one that I have anything this game in particular I don't have anything concrete on.
Corbin?
no, stay away completely. I like my Aaron Jones, but they've raised it from 16.5 to 21.5 now, so it's a pass from me.
Yeah, huge move. Commanders and Patriots. Steve, what do you like?
Demario Douglas.
Yeah.
He's the logical choice. It's only at 47.5. I think you could look towards Hunter Henry at 29.5 as well. But Demario Douglas is the guy for me. The Dolphins headhunted, in my opinion, Parker last week, and then they also knocked out Bourne on a regular play. So both those guys are out. This receiving core needs somebody to step up, and this Commanders defense is ripe for the picking. You know, the Patriots still have Smith-Schuster, but the Commanders defense just trading away those players that we talked about, and they were already a poor pass defense to begin with. So I feel like that's going hand in hand with that Jones over 1.5 touchdowns. I like Demario over 47.5 receiving yards.
Colts at the Panthers. I mean, you could do your Minshew, throw an interception. I don't know if he does it against the Panthers. Corbin, interesting looks in this game. I'm wondering if some of these Colts receivers don't go over their total just because they're just going to run the ball 40 times today.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, I have nothing on the Colts receiving. The only thing we'll mention Phelan later, but I've got him in a same game parlay coming up. But I still like him at 6.5 receptions, even at his normal
Wow.
line. He's cleared it in every game bar the first one, and he's definitely the main wide receiver there. So I expect them to be throwing the ball. I can't imagine them being up particularly. So that's where I'm looking at with that one. So.
Cowboys and Eagles. Alrighty. Steve, you get to go first. Take your pick. Who you like?
I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb over 76.5. He had his biggest week of the year last week. Set season highs across the board, targets, yards, touchdowns, and I feel like he's the guy in this one against this Eagles. They're not going to be able to run the ball against him. So give me their best receiver, the Cowboys' best receiver.
I'll go AJ Brown then.
Yeah.
I
can't argue with it.
I think both of the O's are going to fly over. One interesting way I was also looking at attacking it is the most receiving yards in the game again. So I've been doing AJ Brown every game, and he's plus 220 to have the most receiving yards in this game, followed by CeeDee Lamb at plus 450. You take both of them, and surely one of them's going to have the most receiving yards. And either way, if that happens, you end up profitable. So
that's a great one. That's a great look. I find it funny they don't even give you an over on Michael Gallup. They're like, yeah,
nobody wants to touch Gallup.
Over on targets, under on catches and yards for that one. So Giants and Raiders. Okay, Devontae Adams. Does he get the get right treatment? Is this going to be like a
Yes.
12 catch 100? You think so?
I would go receptions over yards, but yes, I think they are going to throw him the ball very, very often. They got to try and make him happy some way, surely. So,
Steve, you like anything in this game?
No, nothing from me on this one.
I actually do have one more play. It's quite a sneaky one. It's Meyer under 2.5 receptions. So Jimmy G loves his tight ends. He's the one that actively got Meyer and I forgot who the other one was, but he got them involved in the passing game. But he's only gone over 2 in one game, and that was against the Patriots with Jimmy G at quarterback. I mentioned that I think they're going to get Adams and Myers involved more, maybe even Renfro. So I'm going to take a Meyer under 2.5 receptions.
That's a great look. Steve and I had a bet on Mayer to get over his catches, and I think he had 1, and that was even with Jimmy G, who was looking at him. So.
Exactly.
Bills and Bengals. This is to me kind of similar to the Cowboys and the Eagles. Give me the overs. I read an interesting article, not article, but it was a tweet thread about Gabe Davis. How last week they just used him in all the different ways. They completely changed his role. Lot more targets, a lot more catches, and I think this game I think these are two teams that aren't going to try and run the ball a ton. Their quarterbacks are their best players. I like Gabe Davis over. I know it's chalky, but I don't really see how the Bills guard Jamar Chase. So, any other looks in this one, Steve?
I don't have anything in this game.
Corbin, you like anything in that one?
Nothing from me. I might go back to Diggs receptions or an alt Diggs receptions, but the last couple of weeks certainly alarming for that play with them spreading the ball around. So
yeah. So, all right, and Corbin, you had a field goal prop.
Yes, I like the Texans over 1.5 field goals. I think it was negative 140 when I last looked, but the Bucks have one of the best. Actually, I think they are the best red zone defense, and the Texans have definitely had struggles in the red zone this year. They've gone over their field goals in almost every game. So they've had 3, 2, 3, 3, 4, 2, and they had 0 last week. But I definitely like the look for over 1.5 here. So
nice.
It almost made my best bet. So
that's a really, really good one. Yeah, especially with Damian Pierce out, you could see some struggles in the red zone. So, all right, good stuff, everyone. Go ahead and hit the like button, guys, and leave us a comment. Tell me your best bet for today. And once again, guys, just go get that NFL best bet. It's only $15, and we're looking to cash. Coming off a really, really strong Saturday in all sports, we cashed Thursday night football, so we're seeing the board really, really well. So go grab that NFL best bet. That's at WagerTalk.com. All right, Corbin, let us get into. Let's do your same game parlays. We got
Yeah.
one in the Colts, Panthers, and the Seahawks and the Ravens. Walk us through these.
Yeah, so we have Adam Thielen over 50 yards and 6 receptions. I mentioned earlier, but Thielen is just the clear wide receiver one. He's getting all the action. The Panthers defense is really bad. So the Panthers defense is bad. So I think the Colts are going to cover the 15.5 so easily. The Panthers only win was by 2. So I just,
Where did you get 15.5 from?
I had the other 2 and it was about -170 or something. So I was like, I need to bring it down slightly. And I was like, the Panthers only win it by 2 points. I don't see how they get anywhere near 15 and 15 and a half. And then the Colts only lost by like that kind of margin is to the Jags, and the Panthers are certainly nowhere near the Jags level. So Thielen's gone over this. I think in every week he had 8 for 72 last week. I just love that player, -142 for all of that combined. The second one is Mark Andrews to have 25 receiving yards and 4 receptions, and Zay Flowers over 3 receptions. So I've mentioned this quite often, but Mark Andrews has hit this 25 yards, 4 receptions in every single game this year. He just has great chemistry with Lamar Jackson. I've mentioned I'm expecting Jackson to throw here, which then also leads into the Zay Flowers, who's also had 3 receptions in every single game this year. So this player's hit in every single Ravens game. I think Ravens' easiest path to victory is to throw here. They've mentioned they're trying to protect Lamar for the postseason as much as possible with less rushes, hopefully. So yeah, wrap that all up for -134.
Love it, love it. Hey, listen, you know me. Anytime you can fade my Colts secondary, you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
So I like it. So, all right, Corbin, let's go to the alternate universe.
Yes.
So last week we had the Rams, Jets, and the Chiefs. You got the Packers under a first half
Yes.
team total. So let's talk this one out.
Yes, so the Packers under 19.5 first total is obviously an alt line, but I would also recommend playing that on normal line. We are awful in the first half. So let me read you some of these whopping totals for a first half offense. We got 3 versus the Vikings, 0 versus the Broncos, 3 versus the Raiders, 3 versus the Lions, 0 versus the Saints, 10 versus the Falcons and the Bears, but none of that is even slightly close to 19.5. So I just Jordan Love starts so
Great.
slow. So not every book has the under 19.5 first half, so I will also give you Packers just under 30 full stop. That's available everywhere. It's about the same juice. Again, if I don't think they're going to get anywhere near this, they're certainly not doing it in the full game. So the only game they did go over 30 was versus the Bears, but the Bears defense is very, very bad. We do not need to discuss. We do not need to mention that. I've already mentioned the Colts in the previous play. I like them to cover 15.5. I certainly like them to cover 10. Again, the Panthers are just won by 1 game and won by 2 points. I don't see where they're going to pull 10 out somewhere. And then Bengals plus 7.5. I just don't rate this Bills team. I think they're way too hyped for what they are. They just seem to overcomplicate stuff. There's always some interceptions here or some fumbles there, and they always make these games a lot closer. Even the ones they should be winning by a country mile, they just cause themselves so many problems. The Bengals won the last head-to-head 27-10, so didn't even need the plus 7.5. They're much improved in the last 3 games. Obviously beating the 49ers 31-17. Burrow looked way better. They have far too much. And being at home, the Bengals also haven't covered in the last 4. Not the Bengals.
Bills.
The Bills haven't covered in the last 4, and they were against way worse teams. If you can't cover 7.5 versus the Giants, the Patriots and the Bucks, how do you expect to do it versus the Bengals? Slightly alarming. So yeah, all of that together.
Love it. So yeah, if you don't have first half team totals, just look at the alt line on the Packers full
Yeah.
game. You can get 30.5. Man, that just sounds so impossible. Like how Jordan Love scoring over 30 points. That's crazy. So, all right, Steve. Anytime touchdown scores. We're still sticking with the Patriots and Jahan Dotson every week. Week 9. Let's talk some of these out. You've got a first TD split bet, and you got 2 guys that you like.
Yeah, so I'm looking at CD Lamb here. That we talked about the Eagles having the top run defense, and they allow the second most yards and touchdowns to opposing wideouts. We saw Lamb set season highs, 12 catches, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns last week. And in his last game against the Eagles, he caught 10 for 120 with 2 touchdowns. So I'm looking for Lamb to get the job done in that one. Barkley, he looks pretty much fully healthy after last week, 36 carries for 128 yards against the Jets defense. Raiders allow the second most running back yards, third most running back touchdowns with 8. And someone's going to have to get in the end zone in this one. So I'm looking towards Barkley in this one. And then the as far as the split bet, this is a great look for Monday Night Football. I'm for first touchdown now. Eckler and Allen, if you place an equal bet on both guys, you're going to get, if one gets the first touchdown, it's +2 to +3 units, somewhere in that range, depending on which one gets the job done. This is the biggest difference between 2 teams scoring first in a game that we've seen all season. The Chargers score first 85% of the time, 6 of their 7 games. The Jets have only scored first once this season, and it was last week against the Giants where somebody had to score first. You know what I mean? So that's the only time they got the job done. And both these players have 2 first touchdowns so far this season, and I think there's such a high percentage here that the Chargers score first. I'm going with their 2 top guys. Split bet on these guys, and if one cashes, it's pretty much since Addison last week. Addison didn't get the job done for us on the first touchdown, but this is my best look on a first touchdown so far this season. And then for the Patriot parlay, we're just going to go 2 players this week. We're going to parlay CD Lamb with Barkley. It's +360 on that one. Laid out the case on both of those guys already, and hopefully this week is the week my Patriots get their first touchdown as a defense. And Dotson, he had gotten the job done for us for the second time this year last week. And I could also look towards Demario Douglas and Hunter Henry in this one, potentially +215 on Douglas, +330 on Henry. I feel like they're going to get to the end zone a couple times through the air against this Commanders defense that's even more depleted now.
Yeah, and Josh Palmer's out for the Chargers, so I mean they are really down to the bare bones there on offense. They're decimated.
I feel like that's a great look. I mean, there's such a high percentage chance that they're going to score first, and then those are the 2 guys that you got to look towards that are going to be getting in the end zone most likely, and they each have 2 first touchdowns already this season. Which is pretty much close to the top of the leaderboard, as that's 4 is the top guy so far this season.
Man, it'd be amazing if Eckler somehow threw one to Allen. We could cash both of them. No, I'm just kidding. I know that doesn't count. Don't leave comments about that. I know that that's not how it works. But so, all right, guys, we're going to get to our best bets. But once again, go grab that NFL best bet. It's only $15 on WagerTalk.com. Keeping it low volume, fresh off of a great win on Thursday Night Football. That was our only NFL play that night. And we had a great day yesterday, including cashing another college football team total. We are now 8-2 on these. Steve, did you know I was trying the reverse jinx thing?
No, we were because we were messaging about another pick. You know what I mean? So I just thought that you were kind of like, oh man, like you're kind of like feeling like we were going to lose that one, but it was so early on. I was like, how could he be giving up on this already? So
here's what happened. So we had Oregon over 40.5 team total. So the game starts with Oregon. It's drizzling rain. Okay. They get the ball first, so the guy kicks it in the end zone. Instead of taking knee, the Oregon guy just runs out of the end zone really slow and gets tackled at the 15-yard line. You're like, great. First play, quarterback throws a just beautiful target to the wide receiver. It just hits him in the hands, bounces up to the other team, interception. Like we're 4 seconds into the game, and so I was like, this is not a great start. So the key with reverse jinxes is you can't use them very often. Like you can't do it all the time. So one play into the game, I messaged Steve, this play's over. We're dead. They're asleep, not gonna win it. And so then it became obvious that I don't think Steve knew I was trying to reverse jinx because he was like, "Calm down, it's okay." And I was like, "No, I know it's." So
No, I was like, there's still a lot of time. I was like, there's like so many things could happen here. You know what I mean? Like,
there's still 59 minutes and 30 seconds left. It's okay. And then of course it easily goes over. So. Nice cash. 8-2 on these. I thought we would have a good year doing these. I didn't think it would be that good. So, all right, guys. So leave us a comment. Tell us your best bet for today, and we'll feature those on the Positive Vibes tomorrow. Andrew and I will be doing Prop It Up tomorrow, and let's do our 3 NFL best bets. I bring up Prop It Up because I'm calling my shot on my best bet, which is Josh Allen and Joe Burrow to both throw 1.5 touchdown passes. I made a $500 wager. I showed the bet slip, which I don't understand the showing the bet slip thing on Twitter. Corbin, can you explain this one to me? Where if someone says nice cash and the immediate response is show your bet slip, why does it matter? What is this phenomenon?
It's called Twitter trolls. It's pretty. Who knows? They just want proof, I guess, that you actually bet and not just making it up. But
it's weird. But anyway, so I'm calling my shot because it's plus 160. So I think this game is a shootout. I think these two quarterbacks are going to put on a show. We know the Bills' defense is not that great. Baker Mayfield and Mac Jones have both thrown 2 touchdowns against the Bills in the last 2 games, and Josh Allen has gone over this 5 games in a row, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 4. And Joe Burrow looks back and healthy. He had 2 touchdowns in the first 4 games. He has 8 in the last 3. He's gone for 3, 2, and 3. And I'm just not impressed with the rushing back, the running games of either of these teams. Even if they get on the 1-yard line, it's 50-50 whether they're going to run the ball or throw it in there. So I think Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs, and Dalton Kincaid are going to have success. I know Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and all those. So I got both quarterbacks to throw over 1.5. It's plus 160. It's my best bet. Calling my shot. And if it doesn't hit, I will be calling in sick tomorrow. Steve, what's your bet? No, I'm just kidding.
Aaron, you got to show us the bet slip now. You talked about it. You got to show it again.
I did. We showed it on Prop It Up. You can go see it on Prop It Up. I showed it. So, Steve, you and I talked about Josh Jacobs. Rushing total just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, this is easily my favorite play of the week. He's went under in 7 of 8 games, and his season high is 77. So even when he goes over, he's just creeping over that number. This Raiders, I know you didn't want to call it an organization the other day, but this Raiders team, they're in turmoil. They're in turmoil right now, and with O'Connell at quarterback, I think that they'll be able to key in on the run. I don't think they're going to have success really. I like that team total under, like we talked about, at 19.5 as well. I don't think the Raiders are going to really have any success whatsoever offensively. The Giants' D has been solid. They haven't allowed over 15 points in their last 3 games, and they have a really good stout run defense. So give me the Jacobs under 73.5. We put it out at 71.5 just a couple days ago, and it went up a couple yards, so I'll gladly take those yards.
So the premise, Corbin, was you cannot call the Raiders an organization because it has the word organize in it, and they are not.
There's no organization.
They're a team, they're a company, but I just cannot use the word organize when referring to the Raiders. So, Corbin, what is your best bet? Are you going with one of your same game parlays?
Yes, we're going with the same game parlay for the Colts and the Panthers. I mentioned it already. Thielens hit this in basically every game, and there's no way that the Colts are losing by that many to the Panthers, surely. So
Love it. So, wow, 2 same game parlays. How about that? Allen and Burrow both over 1.5.
They're taking
touchdowns.
over.
Yeah. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, clearly you could just take one of them if you like one or the other. But I'm taking both of them over plus 160. Steve is going with Josh Jacobs under 73.5 rushing, and Corbin is going with the same game parlay of Adam Thielen to have 6+ receptions and 50+ yards, and the Colts plus 15 plus 15.5. If ever there was a Corbin same game parlay,
That's it.
That is absolutely it. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us on the Road to Millions for this Sunday. Let's cash some bets. Remember, guys, you do not have to bet a ton. We had a great Saturday. We're positive for the week, so we're keeping it very low volume. We have one best bet that is up. So just make sure you protect those profits. Don't go all in. If you're profitable for the week, make sure you're going to guarantee yourself profits. If you're down a little bit, just ease back. Don't go too crazy on everything, and make sure you join us tomorrow on another edition of the Road to Millions. Good luck on all your bets. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good luck.
Good luck.